How about cooking something up with me? I said, hey, sweet baby, don't you say maybe. How about keeping me steady company? Whoa, I got a flatbed board and a $2 bill, and I know a place right over the hill. They got soda pop and the dancing is free. It's always free. So if you want to have fun, come along with me. 'Cause I said, hey, sweet baby, don't you say maybe. I'd like to buy you a brand new cup of tea. Where did that come from? You never know what words are going to just come on out, you know. Sometimes they're embarrassing, too. Brand new cup of tea just sounds a little weird, doesn't it? But why not? Because you know what? Maybe it would be good for us to have a cup of tea together instead of a soda pop or a drink or, or coffee. What about tea? Actually, now that I think about it, it sounds perfectly reasonable to me. Why did I even think it sounded strange? Well, I think it's only because it came out of my mouth without any forethought whatsoever. It just happened, What I need is come up with a rhyme, right? And I didn't want to say what I've said before, so something else came out. And I used to get all bothered by these things, How come I just said that thing that was not exactly what I meant, except, well, sometimes it actually sounds just fine, or sometimes it even sounds better. It's getting better all the time. I have to admit it's getting better. It's getting better since my mind has become mine. Getting so much better all the time. Ever notice how you have a thought, but when they say you're writing something and you put it down on paper, you put it down a little bit differently, or you see it, you maybe put it down just the way you thought, and then you look at it and say, well, gee, this could mean something completely different. So, for example, what I just did, I wanted to keep this here because, as you can tell, my singing needs a little work, and so I keep recording and listening and trying to understand what I'm doing wrong, because I know I kind of flat out a lot. That's just it's just because of the way my sinuses are in my head. So I hear things higher than they really are. So, that's why I flat out a lot. So I have to keep working on that. So my way of remembering that so that I could go back to this one, because I probably won't listen to it right now. I'll listen to it another time. So I put singing. And what was I singing? I was singing Getting Better All the Time. But when I used the voice recognition program, so I just said into it, singing Getting Better All the Time. I have to say it that way, otherwise it'll misunderstand what I'm saying. And so, no, wait, forget what I just said about understand. It won't understand. It never understands anything. It mistranslates. It translates from voice to text. It screws up with regularity. So I have to be very careful. So I put down singing, getting better all the time, and then I looked at it and said, singing, getting better all the time. Well, you know what? Actually, it's true. It is. My singing is getting better. If you listened to me a year ago, it would be even more painful than it is now. Much more painful. So now that was a misleading label or title, which is fine, because the purpose of some of these is to pique the curiosity. What's more painful? Well, it turns out what is much more painful? Well, in this case, it was, if you had heard me a year ago, it would be much more painful to your ears than it is now. so I get to talk to you about my singing. Well, I actually do. I like to talk to people about how I've sort of learned how to become more capable of doing things than I used to be. I'm 55 years old. You know, isn't it time that I start to do something in my life that I feel really good about? Because, well, I've done some things. I was a computer programmer. I was an adult education teacher. I taught people from all over the world to English as a second language. I taught people who never could read or write. I tried to teach them to read and write and do simple math. And, well, let me tell you the most important thing I learned from that whole experience. That it is very possible to teach people that they are much more stupid than they... I'm sorry. I meant to say the opposite. I'm sorry. I said it right. Let me do it again. It is easy to teach people that they are stupid, when in fact they're not.